Should you buy a home first or sell your home first? What if you need to do both and you don't want to get this wrong? You might need the money or want the money from selling to buy. You might not need the money from selling to buy. Which is the right thing to do? And what is the risk of getting this wrong? This is a question that gets asked all day, every day in real estate. It sounds like a very simple question, but when people get this wrong, it can and often, sadly, is catastrophic to their finances, sometimes their family, and certainly their real estate. You don't want to end up homeless. You don't want to end up with 2 homes or 2 mortgages or 2 payments or, 2 utility bills if that wasn't the plan, if that's not what you wanted. And you certainly don't want to end up leaving a bunch of money on the table or having a bunch of your equity and your profit eaten up with unnecessary expenses. So we want to get this right. We certainly want to help clients and home buyers and sellers in the Dallas-Fort Worth area get this right. And you can, I repeat, you can move smoothly and peacefully sell and buy without having to move twice, without having to duplicate expenses, and honestly, with a great deal of joy and fun and enjoyment in the selling and the buying and the moving and the achieving your goals when it comes to real estate. Hey folks, I'm Todd Tremonti. This is DFW Real Estate Weekly with Todd Tremonti, but I don't do this alone. I got a great crew of experts and friends here with me, and we're here to answer your questions about what it looks like in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to buy a home, to sell a home, to achieve that goal of being in your dream neighborhood, your desirable home, or lot size. For a lot of our clients, that's a great neighborhood or a great home on small acreage, a great home on land, a big backyard. And we have a blast doing that. We've been doing it for over 20 years here in the DFW area. You can find all about that at toddtremontiteam.com. Now, today we are breaking down this process, this experience of selling and buying, what some people call a 2-sided move or a double move. You have one home to sell. You would also like to buy one, and you would like that experience not to be absolutely terrible. So here to help, we've got our day-to-day team lead on the Todd Tremonti home selling team, Ian Daniels, the Yanni Donnie.
What's up?
We've also got full price, Triple C, the Courtney, the voice of the masses.
You're gonna
Voice of the people.
What do you
Am I
mean?
on?
You're on.
Oh, I can't hear myself in my headphones. I'm so sorry. She's here.
You speak for the people. Can
I
you hear
speak
yourself
for the
now?
people. Yes, thank you.
As an expert board operator, I got that sorted out.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, folks, here's the thing. We often double move. We often sell and buy. Now, obviously, if you're coming out of an apartment into a home, you don't have one to sell. If you're selling a home and you're moving in with family or to another country or into a rental or whatever, then you don't have one to buy. But in Dallas-Fort Worth, it is very common that people are both selling and buying. Now, the stereotypes around this type of move are, if I have tons of money, then I can buy first. Or if I need the money from my sale, I have to sell first. Now, that is generally true. Most people do that. I would say for most people, that's wise financial stewardship. It's the most peaceful thing to do. But then we get into this complicated stuff about like contingencies. In a contract, I will buy if I sell. I will buy if I sell by this date. I will buy if I sell for at least this amount of money. And then you have people that don't necessarily want to sell to you because your buy side you're complicated. You're a buyer that comes with issues. So we're going to get into that as we make our way through this issue today and as we really try to answer the questions that you've got out there. But there's more than just questions, Courtney. I think there's emotions sometimes. What do you think?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I think I didn't realize how much this was a thing, like that this needs to be done like hand in hand. And I talked to a lady yesterday on the phone that was just so stressed about and had started one path and then she went away from her agent and did her own thing with like the builder incentives and things and got herself sort of in a pickle where she needs to list within 7 days. And I was like, oh my gosh, like we think that we want to like do these things on our own and that it's just simple contracts. It's like there's so much to navigate. I'm so glad you're doing this show today.
Yep. And then so you've got the analytics. You've got, do I need to sell? Can I buy first? I'll just mention there are companies, I'll just say lenders, dressed up as whatever type of business model or company out there that can help you finance buying first and then selling. But it comes with a lot of what Courtney just said. It comes with this tension, this urgency that can really change how you make decisions and can be good. I'm not saying they're all bad, but can often put people in a real pinch where they have to make some bad decisions to get into their good decision, if that makes sense.
I will say a lot of this is logistical,
Yeah.
but I'm so glad I'm on the show because emotion plays so much into it.
So I had actually talked with Patrick Gleros about bridge loans, which we'll get into later, but he described what you just described as being a third-party bridge loan.
Yep. And that's what it is. I'm not going to name the names of any companies because they advertise on TV and radio and postcards and billboards. And I don't think they're bad people, but I think their offerings often get people in bad situations where it's like, hey, we will help you buy before you sell, or we'll buy your house from you so you can buy the other one. But it's not a traditional purchase and sale where you buy and walk and move in and forget everything, or sell and walk away. It's basically a bridge loan where in the interim, we will help you do that. But of course, we need profit in order to do that. So it eats up some of the money that was involved in your purchase and your sale. There's a relatively high cost. I would say sometimes extremely high cost to what they would call convenience. It's like a pack of gum at a convenience store is a lot more than a pack of gum at a big box store, because that convenience, that like right here, right now in my face.
Never thought about that.
That's what's happening.
It's a bottle of water at a Cowboys game versus a bottle of water from
Costco.
the gas station.
In a 24 pack.
Yeah.
The difference there is that same exact opportunity just
Interesting.
cost you 2 or 3 or 4 times as much. Not the buying of the house, but the financial in between part. I'm not saying it's always bad. I'm just saying it sounds great. What we are here and what we do on our team all day, every day is help people sell and buy with one move, without the drama, the added expense, and the fear. So how does that happen? So Ian, you help us talk to people all the time that are going, hey, I think I want to sell, but only if I can buy. Hey, we're ready to buy, but only if we can sell. And we have process for that. There are tips, there are strategies, there is advocacy and protection so people don't get kind of beat down by this process. What would you say are the things people just need to know right out of the gate to get their heads right in this situation?
Yeah, I mean, the simplest answer is that every single one of these cases is completely situational.
Yep.
It really does matter what somebody's situation is, what your situation is. Are you moving from out of state? Are you moving and you have flexible time frames? Do you have cash? Like, there isn't a simple answer as to like what you should do, because we need to be able to have a conversation with you and a sit down with you and understand which one is the most important side of these things. Do we need to go ahead and maybe get the house ready to list first, and then we're going to do things like contingency or things like that? Or are you in a position where you want to go ahead and get the purchase done, and then once you find the house, then you want to go ahead and list it?
Okay. That's absolutely the right answer. It's an annoying answer too, right? Because if you're going, no, what should I do? You're saying, well, this is situational. And it just is, as is every other real estate purchase or sale, because especially for your home, if it's just kind of a spreadsheet investment purchase, that's something different. This is you, your family, your finances, your rest, your recovery, your safety, security, all those good things. Okay, so that being said, let's paint a few scenarios where we could give a little bit more direct response, right?
Yep.
Typically, you can buy first if you want to buy first, if you do not need the proceeds from your sale to comfortably purchase that next home. So if you have cash, if you have the ability to get comfortable, safe financing that you feel good about without getting the cash out of your current home or without getting the financing of your current home off the books, right? So if I have a mortgage on my current home, but I can easily qualify for a favorable mortgage on the next one, maybe I'll go ahead and buy that next one so I don't have any extra stress or urgency on selling this one. We have a lot of people that say, I would like to buy, move in, and then do some work on my old house to get it ready for the best sales scenario. And if you can financially afford that, that is often a great option. Many people cannot. But if you have the financial resources to buy first, whether it's just out of convenience or to be out of the other home before we do some painting or repairs or remodeling or upgrades or whatever the case is, that's a great time to buy first. When you have no real time urgency on either side, we'll buy when we find the right home, and then we'll sell when we're moved in and comfortable. That's a great time. It sounds like something only really wealthy people could do, but the truth is, it might allow you to make better decisions buying and selling and make up for whatever feels like additional dollars you may need.
Well, another option, another time that may happen is when homes sell really fast in your area as well.
Yep. So let's just say, to use Ian's example, that homes in your neighborhood, maybe this isn't true for the whole market, maybe it is, but homes in your area like yours, marketed well and priced well, are going to sell within a couple of weeks. And you're going, I do not want to sell, have like a 20, 30, 40-day window that I have to be out and not know where I'm going to go next. So when homes are selling really quickly, if I can pull it off, I may actually want to go buy first with a high level of certainty that I will then sell really quickly and still only need to move one time.
Especially if you're wanting something which is a little bit more unique, a home on land or something like that.
Yep, in a very specific neighborhood where there's not a lot of homes available, anything like that. Now, the bridge loan that we referenced earlier that is often not the best financial decision can be a good financial decision in one of these scenarios where you want to buy first because timing could be a real crunch. Now, you need to talk to a pro and know that that market data is accurate, not just like you heard from a neighbor or one person sold really fast or someone you know once did that and it worked out well for them. That's not how we create safety and security in our homes. Okay, when should I sell first? This is most people's situation, right? Is, hey, I'm not, whether I can or want to, I'm not going to go get another loan without getting the money out of this house. I'm not going to spend the money on my next house without getting it out of my last house. Well, this is where we start getting really strategic. Like Courtney said, you have experts helping you with the logistics of this. Okay, what date should we agree to on the sale so that the date we agreed to on the purchase can work together? Can we sell and lease back? Can we buy but not close until? Can a little bit of money get me a lot of flexibility? Can something non-financial get me some flexibility? How could I buy some more time later if I need some more time later? How could I build in a little more flexibility on move out if I need more flexibility on move out? So is that temporary housing? Is it access to your equity? Is it keeping your options open on buying? Is it keeping your options open on selling? Is it slowing down the sale of a home to protect your family? Is it speeding up the purchase or the opposites? Now, there are lots of other factors. Like you might be a veteran and you want to take advantage of your VA benefits, your VA loan benefits. That might demand a little more time. That might actually expedite the paperwork of a process. Same thing for 15-year versus 30-year mortgage, bigger down payment versus smaller down payment. Appraisal waivers or needing an appraisal, inspection waivers or needing an inspection. All these things are factors to whether we speed up, slow down, complicate, or simplify, buy first or sell first. Most people are going to fall into that sell first category. And again, we help dozens and dozens and dozens of people do this every year without having to move twice because of what Courtney said, because of what Ian and I say all the time, slowing down before you speed up to get those logistics laid out. What do you want? What do you need? What can we not be flexible on? What can we be flexible on? What are our options? So most people are going to sell first, and we think about things way ahead of time. If the deal was so good that I did need to move twice, where would we live? What do we have lined up? If the deal was so bad that I had to back out, what am I going to do in that situation? Having all of that decided before we go get emotionally tied to a new home, before we get emotionally or financially committed to a buyer or a seller or an inspector or an appraiser or a lender, these kinds of things. Now, how do you protect yourself, your family, your finances as you're making your way through a process like this? We've referenced already a contingency. Ian, you want to give a little bit more of a real estate contractual explanation of what that even means?
Yeah. So basically, if I was to go under contract on purchasing a home, but I have not yet sold my home, the contract, the sale is contingent upon me being able to sell my home.
So let's paint a quick picture. Ian is buying a home from Courtney.
Yes.
And he's hoping to sell his home to someone else.
Yes.
So he makes an offer to Courtney. And he said, it's more formal than this. It's in contracts. But he's saying, hey, Courtney, I will buy your house and I'll pay this amount. And she's like, okay, we agree to that amount.
Yep.
But I will only pay you that amount and close and fund on this date and transfer these documents. So all these terms of the contract are contingent upon. They are dependent.
They can only happen if
I'm only required to move forward if I sell my house for an agreed to amount by this date with terms I'm looking for. Now, Ian's going to tell Courtney, or agents and contracts are going to say, these are the terms by which I will satisfy this contingency. And if I can't, these are your options. Now, Courtney might say, okay, well, if I get another offer, this contract gives me the right to walk away from this contingency, or it doesn't give me that right. So we're not going to get into all the what ifs, but that's kind of what that looks like. It's like,
oftentimes it's like, hey, if I get another offer, I'm going to give you the right to match it. And if not,
for however many days we agreed to, you have 2, 3, 5, 10, 50, 100, whatever days, or you pay this much to get out, or you pay this much to stay in. All that stuff is negotiable. But that's what a contingency is, and that's one of the ways we protect people from not selling and not being able to buy, or buying and not being able to sell, or getting stuck with 0 homes or 2 homes and that kind of thing.
One of the things that we do really well here, which is important for people to understand and ask if it's being done for them, is to be able to say, hey, I want to know about who it is that's selling your home.
Yep.
What's their marketing plan? What's their system? What's their pricing strategy?
Yep.
Because if you have somebody where it's just like, I don't really know, we're just going to do whatever, then it's like, I don't know if I really want to accept that contingency.
And let me break down or explain a little bit more what Ian's saying. Again, let's go back to our hypothetical. Courtney is selling. She has her agents and all that, and Ian is the buyer, and he's contingent on selling this other one. Let's say I'm Ian's agent now, and I'm going, hey, Courtney, I know this one's contingent, but here's what I need you to know. We've already done all the pricing analysis. We've already done the marketing analysis. This is our proprietary marketing system. We're going to go live on the market on this date, and here's why we chose that date, and here's who we think our ideal buyer is. Here's the amount of showings that are happening in the area, and our expectation is we'll be under contract by this date at this time, and blah, 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 at which point we'll incentivize your side of this deal even more. And she's going, oh, okay. This is not like, well, we hope it sells. This is like, wow, they've got a plan, and it's believable, and I've reviewed their stuff, and now I'm kind of wishing I had used them to sell my house, right? That's where you're saying we are contingent, which for a lot of sellers is not really attractive to say, hey, I'm going to buy your house, but I've got some complications. I've got some what ifs involved. Some sellers are like, I don't want to sell to a buyer that's contingent. Depending on the market, they may have to be open to that. In some markets, they would say, I won't even consider that. I've got lots of buyer interest, so I don't need that. Back to your earlier point, Ian, it depends on how homes are selling in the area. How much demand, how much supply, interest rates, pricing, time of year, all that stuff matters. To the point we're making right now is, how do we protect people who are both selling and buying at basically the same time? And one of the ways we do that is with contingencies. Another way is with creative financing. We referenced bridge loans earlier. It might be a family loan. It might be borrowing against some of your investment assets so that you have less of a financial inflexibility and you have more financial flexibility. There are times where it might only cost you a few $100s to have weeks more time and flexibility, and it's worth every penny. There are other times where to get hours of flexibility, it could cost you the entire deal. So creative financing is another way to say, hey, I've got options. If the appraisal is weird, I've got this other deal. If cash ends up not being a great option, I've got this other deal. I was actually doing some continuing education recently and talking about how our third-party financing addendum is used in Texas. It's a state regulated, promulgated form created by a bunch of attorneys at the Real Estate Commission. And when you are a cash buyer, or if you are creating a cash scenario just to protect yourself in a buy-sell both, sometimes it's still wise to use a financing addendum to say, this is contingent on me being approved for financing. I may not use financing, but I want to know that I could if I needed to, so I have more options, just so I have more flexibility. If rates come down and it's advantageous for me to borrow, I want the flexibility to borrow. If I couldn't get approved for financing, I may not want to use my cash. So again, these are other things we can do as your expert, or if it's not us, your expert can do to protect you, keep your options open, and help make selling, buying, moving, packing, changing utilities, changing neighborhoods, maybe changing school districts or whatever, be an enjoyable experience instead of potentially a nightmare experience. Now, we've been explaining the broad, general, market-driven, psychological, typical behavior patterns of this deal. But there's some very specific things that we do on our team at the Todd Tremonti Home Selling Team right here in Dallas-Fort Worth that really, really helps with this. You guys feel free to jump in whenever you go. But one of the things that I built into our model 20 plus years ago is agents who specialize in either working with buyers or working with sellers, not both. One of the huge advantages is when you're selling and buying. Let's just say you're selling and Ian is helping you sell, and you're buying and Courtney's helping you buy. Courtney's not licensed. This is a hypothetical. Not only do you have a full-time dedicated expert who's really, really good at the thing they do, because it's all they do dozens of times a year, you have two sets of eyes, two sets of ears, two brains, two experiences, and our entire team helping you. So you have Ian doing everything he can to maximize the benefit and your leverage and all that on the sell side. You have Courtney just killing it for you on the buy side. And then you have Courtney and Ian talking to each other probably every day going, hey, hold on, what's y'all's date on that? Let me see what I can do over here. Hey, did they say they would include all the patio furniture? We might be able to swap that for a little more flexibility and time, or that might help us be willing to give a little bit more over here. So you have, it's like going into a courtroom instead of having like a state appointed one person. You've got a team of dedicated experts that are strategizing together on all those logistics, all the benefits, all the leverage for you so that you can win big on both sides.
The other thing that I would point out is some people may hear that and go, that's not that big a deal. They're also training specifically on the area that they work in and that they help people with on the sell side or the buy side. It would be like a quarterback in football learning how to be a running back and a receiver and a lineman and a tight end and a lineman. I mean, that's not going to go well.
Yep.
So for us, we have found that it is best for that quarterback, that marketing specialist, that buyer specialist to train every single day in what it is that they do.
Yeah, and to understand much better than the typical agent the demands of the other client, because you're working with someone who only represents that other side all day, every day as well. So the compounding benefit to somebody who's selling and buying of having a specialist on each side will protect you in the selling and buying. In the understanding of, oh, I was only on the sell side. I didn't really think about move-in dates. I didn't think about when the power was going to be shut off. I didn't think about your home warranty or rekeying the locks. Having people working together so that not just the sale, not just the purchase, but the entire life change that's happening in this sell, purchase, finance, close, shut everything out, start everything up, physically move, take kids out of school, all that stuff is really, really considered. Now, we're not going to make this about us necessarily, but in the ability to specialize is not just people with specialization, it's systems and structure and guarantees. It's a 7-step proprietary marketing system to sell homes over the average price and under the average time. It's a 13-point buyer program to guarantee that buyers get access to properties other people don't have access to with speed other people don't have, and the guarantee to save thousands of dollars every time you purchase a home. And to get both of those things at the same time when you can sleep at night, not having to carry that burden all by yourself. So it's a pretty magical situation. But the answer, the question we're trying to answer here is, how do you protect yourself when selling and buying from not getting stuck with 2 homes or no home or 2 mortgages or added expense or a bunch of wasted energy or a tremendous amount of stress and fear and anxiety? And the answer is A, to plan ahead, to think through the finances, to think through what's the best thing to do first or second, what's the appropriate timeline, time of year, area, property type, and of course, who are the professionals that are going to lead and guide and advocate for you? People watch this show from all over the globe, so it may not be our team in Dallas-Fort Worth that's going to help you with this, but it may be that you go looking for a dedicated expert. You go looking at bridge loans. You go looking at buy first or sell first. You're looking for systems for marketing and sales. You're looking for how could you present a contingency in a more attractive way. I'm not going to go through everything we've discussed here, but those are just a handful of the things that can make selling and buying at quote the same time. And the reason I put air quotes on that is you're not actually selling and buying at the same time. You could close those deals on the same day, but you're deciding which decision do we make first. What do we spend our energy looking at houses and finding a place we want to live, or do we spend all of our energy cleaning up and painting the house we're going to sell? Or is it possible to do those things at the same time? We're saying it's possible to do them generally at the same time so that you don't have to move twice, own 2 homes, own no homes, have 2 mortgages, be homeless, be fearful, be anxious, all those things. It's possible. And not only is it possible, Ian, as you know, it happens all the time. We're doing this for people in Dallas-Fort Worth all the time here on the Todd Tremonti home selling team. So, Courtney, we referenced emotion earlier. I think it's critical just to come back to that before we wrap up and go, look, we've talked a lot about system, structure, and analytics, specialization. But when, let's just say, a mom is thinking about selling and moving, what comes to mind? Like, what are all the things somebody's thinking about when they're thinking about uprooting their family? It may just be across the street, but it might be new school, new job, new area, all that. Like, what are the feelings? What are all the things that are non-tactical, like we just came through, that you think are on people's minds?
Well, just whatever changes are about to happen. And then packing up their rooms, and what do we need in the middle of those changes? Are they navigating things with friends? Like, just what are the emotions that, and socially, what are my kids going to be navigating outside of just logistically getting their room from one place to the other?
Yeah, bedrooms, bathrooms, and square footage and pricing and closing costs and all that stuff is real. But then you've got soccer season's going to last another month after we've already moved. And so how do we handle rides? Okay, well, the school year ends here, but actually we're not going to get final GPAs until these are the things that real estate agents aren't talking about when you're like, we're making 2 huge decisions at the same time. A lot of times if you're leaving your apartment, you're not really thinking about the quote sell side, where you live before. That's do we get our deposit back, move on. If you're selling and moving in with family or moving in with friends or traveling for a year or whatever the case is, you're not as hyper obsessed about that second piece. You're focused on one piece. But the purpose of this show today is when we're doing both. And when we're doing both, this is a big deal. There's financial, there's safety, security, there's convenience. And then, of course, there's just the overwhelm, the excitement, and the joy. So last thing I want to say on the emotion piece, and then we'll wrap up, is can you imagine, Courtney, as a mom, as the feeler in our little ensemble here, that it could be possible to sell a home for top dollar, break records, and be thrilled with the sale at the exact same time as finding a home that you are really excited to move into, and you're managing the move-in, the school transfers, the touch-ups on the home so that you're ready for it, that all that goes well. It's all done effectively in a 1-day period. Move out, move in. And that process could be joyful, fun, exciting, and one that you felt so good about you'd want to tell your friends about.
I feel like you're pitching me a pipe dream.
Yeah. And I would say, and statistically in residential real estate, it is a pipe dream. But I want people... I'm looking you in the YouTube eyes. I'm speaking right to your podcast ears right now. I'm telling you right now, this is possible. It's rare because most of the world doesn't even attempt it. It's rare because most agents aren't experts. It's rare because specialization and teamwork is so unique. But this can happen. So if you're tuning in because you're trying to pull this off, don't give up. Don't settle for less than that. If you're in the DFW area, of course, we can help you. Our information is near this video or this audio. But if you're anywhere else, find the expert that can help you with this. Think through planning ahead, slow down before you speed up, and you really can sell and buy. Move 2 sides, 2 transactions without it being a nightmare and with it actually being a really exciting, joyful step towards your desired future. Do it. I believe in you. Check out this episode and others. Download it. If you love it, give it a like, give it a review, share this with other folks. Let us know in the comments what your situation is and if we could do anything for you, point you towards a resource, or improve our next episode by helping you out in some way when it comes to your home. We'll talk to you on the next one.